So the Garmin ClearVu settings can be a little overwhelming, but don't worry, you're in the right place. Daren Wendell here with Wendell Fishing, and I'm going to walk you through every single setting in this bad boy, show you how to decipher and how you can better use it to become a better angler out there and decode the underwater world, and ultimately catch more fish. Let's hop in.
Let's go and hop into Sonar, and we're going to go to ClearVu now. Garmin's ClearVu is a high-frequency sonar that provides detailed pictures of the fishing environment and what's going on underneath your boat. Now, traditional transducers are going to emit a conical beam. The Garmin ClearVu scanning sonar is going to emit a beam similar to like the shape of a beam in a copy machine. And so that's how you're getting the images that you see below. Now, let's hop into all the settings, and how you do that is you go down here to the right, hit menu, and you get a variety of settings, and a lot of them are a few clicks deep. So let's go through all of these real fast. First, you get your contrast. Of course, you can increase your contrast. You can decrease, you can do it by hitting this button, and the default just goes straight to 50%. Now, let me show you a little bit about contrast. So, contrast setting on your Garmin ClearVu really adjusts the difference between the lightest and darkest colors in the image. So how you would use this to your advantage is the higher the contrast right here as you go up. This makes the image appear sharper, more defined, and then when you go down, it's going to create a softer, more subdued image. Now you might be asking yourself the question, which contrast setting is the best? And the answer is it depends, right? So the best contrast setting depends on water clarity, right? Clear water often benefits from a higher contrast. Murky water may require a lower contrast to reduce the noise and the clutter. Also, you got to take in considering like your lighting conditions. Bright sunlight can wash out this entire screen sometimes. And so this might mean you need a higher contrast, or low light conditions may benefit from a lower contrast to improve that visibility. And sometimes at the end of the day, it's just personal preference, man. Anglers have different visual preferences. All right, next, let's head back here and let's go to the range function. Now, of course, you manually do it up and down. You can slide it up and down. So I usually just keep this on auto, right? And so it tracks, keeps that water column right there. I don't fish in really, really deep water. And so if you're a bass fisherman or you live like in Northeast Ohio, I mean, you could set this if you wanted to, but auto is where I keep it. All right, let's keep that on auto, keep it done. Let's head back into the next setting. And now you can do the pause sonar. Now you can do this from the menu setting. I don't recommend doing that because when you back out to the home setting, you can pause this anytime you want by clicking this bottom down here in the left-hand corner, and it's going to pause the screen for you. So no need to take a couple extra steps, go into the menu to do that. You can do so right here. Next one is sonar setup, and then there's a variety of different things in here. First, you got your depth line, and so it's off when it says hide, it's on when it says show, which is kind of weird and backwards in my opinion. Anyways, let's head back. It's showing the depth line right now, which is this line across the screen right here. Now, you could visually just look and see, but let's say you're like, hey, I just ran over that sick grouping of fish right there, and so you can tap on it, you're like, it's exactly 13.1. Or if you want to go right over top of them, it's 10.4, or you want to kind of roll right under them, 17.7, or whatever you want to do. You can easily just click that, or you can remove this completely by going in here, sonar setup, depth line. You can hide that bad boy, and now it's not showing at all. All right, next setting, sonar setup, on-screen control. I keep this typically on brightness, and so when you go back here, up here, this is the on-screen setting they are referring to, and so I like this to be able to do this in real time and adjust my brightness. You can change this out, however, if you wanted to, with sonar settings on screen, and I can be like, I want range instead. And you go back here and you see this is your range. And so whichever one you want, or you can have none at all. So I'm gonna go back. I like keeping this under brightness, and as you can see, it's gonna keep the brightness there. All right, let's head to the next one. Let's go over here, sonar setup, overlay data. All right, so these are all things that are gonna display on the front screen. So if I were to go in here, get rid of that one, hide this one, hide that, hide that, and hide that. When I go back out here to the main screen, at the top left-hand corner, there is 0 data. And so to add that all back in, we'll go down here to overlay data, and you can add, and you can, I like the GPS speed. And this will go back here, and it'll show you your depth, your water temperature, your miles per hour. I'm sitting here in my office at 0.00. It's going to be GPS speed, your voltage from your battery, and then of course the time. I like that. It's never in my way. It's on the far side of the screen, and everything coming that I'm rolling over right now is on the right side of the screen. And so I like to keep that overlay data in there, but you can manipulate it if you want to. All right, so next, look at advanced. And so I don't do a whole lot in here, but let me at least share with you what these are. Interference right here, it's going to give you 4 different options. And interference adjusts the sensitivity to reduce the effects of interference by nearby sources of noise, right? So the lowest right here, the lowest interference setting that achieves the desired improvement should be used to remove interference from the screen. Correctly installing issues that cause noise is really the best way to eliminate interference, but you can kind of manipulate it in here if you like, going back. And now let's talk about TVG. TVG stands for time variable gain, right? It's a setting that adjusts the sensitivity of the sonar based on the distance from the transducer. And so the purpose of TVG is it really compensates for signal loss as sonar pulses travel through the water. So objects really far away naturally return a weaker signal due to absorption and scattering. And so TVG can help for that. I don't ever mess with this stuff in here, but you can adjust it if you like. Surface noise. So this is going to be to help kind of reduce clutter. A wider beam width or lower frequencies can show more targets, but can generate more surface noise. And so you can kind of adjust it there. And then you get the bottom search limit. And the bottom search limit, this is going to limit the search for the bottom of the depth selected when the range setting is set to auto. So to minimize the length of time it takes to find the bottom, you can select a depth to limit the search for the bottom, and the device will not search for the bottom deeper than that selected depth. Like I said, I don't spend a lot of time in the advanced, but at least you generally know what that stuff means. Next up here is scroll speed. So scroll speed, of course, you can speed it up. As you can see that, it's moving a lot faster. You can slow it down. Now, what is scroll speed? So you can set the rate at which the sonar image moves across the screen, right? A higher scroll speed up here, it's going to show more detail until there's no additional detail to show, at which point it starts stretching out the existing detail. Now, this can be useful when moving slower or when trolling, or when you're in very deep water where the sonar is pinging very slowly. And then a lower scroll down here is going to display sonar information on the screen longer. Now, when I use ClearVu, I recommend that you use the auto setting for this, and so that's typically what I do. And so I'm going to hit done, but you can change it if you have different needs. All right, next, head back in here, sonar setup, and add color scheme. All right. Now, there's a variety of different color schemes here. I actually like lava, to be honest with you, but there's Caribbean, floodlight, ice blue. My goodness, there's a variety of different options in here. So let's go ahead and choose lava. Now, you might be asking yourself, well, what's the reason for all of these? Now, some color schemes provide better contrast, making it really easier to distinguish fish underwater, bottom structure, and other important features from the background. Now, especially helpful in low light conditions or when dealing with a glare on the screen. And at the end of the day, a lot of this stuff is just user preference. So anglers can choose the color schemes that they find most visually appealing and easy to interpret. Maybe you're colorblind. I know my father is, he's colorblind. So if you were to put this on like a yellow of sorts, he would be like, what in the world am I looking at right now? So adjust it to your liking. All right, let's keep this party moving. All right, next in sonar setup, we have Sonar Recording. Now, Sonar Recording on all Echomap chart plotters, they allow for the traditional and ClearVu scanning technology and side view, which is in our video, to be recorded on a micro SD card that you can view later on a computer. And you do that by opening this up down here in the right hand corner. And there is a little SD card and a single beep if I take it out. So I'm not going to do that. However, this is where you can view your sonar recordings. And then you have installation, which if you bought one of these, maybe used, and you wanted to restore the sonar defaults because you didn't like how the other person had it set up, you can restore and set it all up new, and that's how you would do that. Now, once you make all these settings, by the way, so if you put all the settings for ClearVu and you want different settings for side view and you want different settings for traditional, once you go in and make these settings, it's going to remember them. So that's the good news there. All right, next, we already went through all the sonar setups. Now let's head up here to brightness. Now, brightness, of course, you can do this from this screen in here. However, as we just did earlier, we put that on the front of the screen. However, you have other options in here. You have auto low, auto medium, and auto high. So auto high is going to be really great for, in my opinion, like really bright conditions, bright sunlight. Auto mediums, so this is going to be a balanced setting for moderate lighting conditions like overcast days when fishing in shaded areas. And of course you have auto low, and this is going to be best suited for low light conditions like dawn, dusk, night fishing. And so if you want to use any of those, you could. I typically don't put that on auto because since I have it easily adjustable on my home screen, I am going to just adjust it, the brightness out here. In real time. So I don't use any auto functions there. So next, let's take a look at the zoom function. Now you can do auto, you can do magnify. I like utilizing magnify. And so there's a variety of different options in here you can do to magnify, but I don't recommend doing this because you can do all this on the home screen. So we're on magnify, and what's going to show is this box down here. And you can move this box anywhere around. Say you ran over something juicy, you can hit pause, you can roll this up here, and you can magnify in on it, and you can make it bigger or smaller. So what I do is I typically just leave it down here in case I ever need it. Now let's go up here to zoom. There's also bottom lock. So bottom lock, if you click that and hit back, you will see this is now locking to the bottom. So you're trying to get fish that are holding close to the bottom. You really want to get that granular view of that. You could hit bottom lock, and it's just going to keep the bottom of that body of water in the screen. And you can tell you're on bottom lock by looking down here in the left-hand corner. It says BL. And what you can do in this moment, if you like bottom lock but also want to see the remainder of it, you can head back to the menu. We go to zoom. You got bottom lock, and I believe you can hit split zoom. There you go. And over here, it's showing bottom lock, and only from the 0 to kind of 4 feet on the bottom there. And then over here, it's showing the rest of the water column all the way up to 0. So you can play around with those settings if you want. So let's head back out, zoom, take that off bottom lock, back, split zoom, hide it, and now we're back to normal. All right, now let's head into Sonar Transmit. Now, if you just want to turn on and off the sonar, you can do so by toggling this back and forth. Say you want to save battery, and maybe you got a 30-minute kayak ride or a boat ride or whatever it is, and you're like, hey, I just want to conserve my battery for whatever reason. You could do so there. Next, you have edit overlays. So let's edit overlays here, and there's a variety of different things you can do here. If you want a bottom bar, let's just say you have a power pole anchor on your kayak. And you go in here, you go back, and you can see on your screen, you can make this go up, make this go down, make this go all the way up, make it all go all the way down. But I don't like doing this. Every time you add a bottom bar or a top bar, it just reduces the screen size. And this is not a huge screen size anyways, but if you had like a 12-inch screen, you might want, you could utilize this for something that's easier. You can just do it all from your screen. But I don't like that. And so what I'm going to do on the overlays, I'm going to remove the bottom bar, none. And let's say you wanted the top bar. Let's say you wanted your compass tape. And you can go back here. You can see it has a compass tape on top. Once again, you're utilizing space of the screen. And so I would say if you don't need it, typically you don't have it up there. Of course, if you need it, like it, do your thing, man. Do your thing.
All right, so it's my hope that now you have more answers than questions. Now, if you want to understand the side view settings, you can check out that video right there. And also 4 sonar mistakes that I made and you should avoid right there. Thanks for watching, guys. See ya.